talk to him tonight. Right, we're good.
I'll call the special meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission to order. First item is roll call. Outside.
Here.
Mike Payne.
Here.
Here. Sue Sutherland. Steve Richard.
Here.
It's all the regular music here. And, talking with,
No, he's not here tonight.
he's asked. Oh, we have. Next item is public communications. Is anyone on staff?
No.
Is anyone in the public wish to address this tonight? State your name and address, please.
Christine Lambert, 19 Maple Terrace. So, I'm here today. My daughter goes to the TVCCA preschool. And we would really appreciate you guys to reconsider because it's so hard to find the quality childcare program for kids these days. And it's something that she loves. She doesn't want to move her spot. She likes where she is at school with her teachers, and we really like you guys to reconsider that.
Is there anyone else wish to address this? No, it's more than consideration.
So that's what she was,
Yes.
what she was talking about.
Yeah, Chuck, it's the public portion. I do have testimony and letters from parents. You want them now or you want them later? Since you're asking for members of the public.
Well, what's the summary? Are they all in favor?
You can do that during your
During the-
presentation.
okay,
That's
I
fine.
figured. Okay.
You can do that during.
I'm not gonna read this.
Oh,
Just saying.
And we do have someone online too. So,
There's someone in the audience. too.
yeah.
have their hand raised.
Do you,
One,
or there's someone in the audience as well?
some, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see it in the back. You want to step up? Podium.
Good evening. My name is Roscoe Merritt, 19 Birmingham Court. I am representing my neighbors who have spoken to me about some modifications of your plans, I believe, in the construction. And they first came to me and said that they were a little bit excited about it, shall we say. And I tried to explain to them that the town has already looked for alternatives and not finding anything and wanting to get the construction going. There's going to be another plan of attack, so to speak, on construction while the daycare is in operation. And I'll disclose that I am an RTM representative for District 1, which includes Fort Hill Homes. And while they expressed their desires about finding out about this, I tried to explain to them, like I just said, basically the town tried to find alternatives and it was almost impossible at this point in time. So they've come up with other plans and I hope to see that plan tonight. And I have another interest. First was the park out front, the open space, but I talked to my neighbors and they would rather see daycare in the area over a park. We have 2 or 3 down there already. And the basketball court that's over behind the daycare, we'd like to see that moved up to the front with a fence and lights. And they would basically, I've laid this plan out to a couple of the town councils 3 or 4 months ago. Lights would shut off at 10 o'clock. It would not be a locked gate, so to speak. And it is used. However, a lot of people don't use it now because it hasn't been maintained. But progress being what it is, we'll just have to wait and see. But those are the 2 demands that came forward. And like I said, the park area, the open space was put aside in favor of daycare, which I think it's going to be it's going to be quite an event to see. The new buildings and the expansion of the daycare. Could be something good for Groton.
Yeah, no one else in the audience.
But,
So I go to the,
okay, so on Zoom, it looks like above, perhaps. You can unmute. Would you like to address the commission? You can unmute and speak if you like.
Still muted.
yes,
Yeah, this is the only opportunity to address the commission. This is not a public hearing, so if you want to talk to them, it needs to be under public communications. Above? No? Okay,
Put your hand down.
okay. Yep, I will just, yeah, no.
there's another.
Okay. Nope, I did it, yeah.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Your hand down.
All right. Move on then to site plans. That was site plan SIT 2304, the applicant. Start the presentation.
Sure. Good evening, everyone, and my name is Deborah Monahan. I'm the CEO of TVCCA. First, let me thank you from the bottom of our hearts that you held a special meeting for us and for the review of the site plans. As you're aware, TVCCA currently operates in 3 of the buildings on the site. And tonight, I think you're going to see from the civil engineers and the architect and others here, the plans that we have envisioned and drawn up for you for a new childcare facility on the property. We will maintain 40 Central Avenue. The building will basically take up the space that's currently occupied by 36 and 38 Central Avenue. We hope to serve on the site somewhere near 150 children. Currently, we're only at 85 children, so the expanded services to the area and to your town. Tonight, there's a number of people here, so hopefully as you're reviewing the site plans, you see the 2 directors of the program. Debbie Poirier is the director of the Little Learners Program. That's a state-funded program that will be in that facility. And Andrea Watson is the director of Early Head Start. And then the other ladies in the back there are staff that work there and have worked there for a number of years. So if you have any questions, they can certainly address some of those. So I'm not going to belabor this unless you have questions of me. I think we should turn it over to the civil engineers. So thank you very much, though, for this opportunity.
Oh, yeah. You should be able to, oh, let me just promote you so that you can.
Good evening, Chuck Mandel, agent for TVCCA. Yep, we'll put the site plan on the board
There you
there. This commission had granted us site plan approval early, not site plan approval, but the special permit earlier this year. So you must be familiar with the project. We had quite a few comments from town staff. We've been addressing those as we've been receiving them. A couple of important ones. One was the stormwater. So we have stormwater that was provided to mitigate the first flush and to have the peak runoff rates. The town engineer has reviewed these and found them to be acceptable. Operations and maintenance requirements for the site and stormwater infrastructure are included in the report and the plans, and they include periodic inspection, mowing of stormwater basins, parking lot sweeping, catch basins and hydrodynamic separator cleaning. One of the other concerns that was raised, I don't believe it was from this commission, but we went ahead and did it. One of the neighbors were concerned about traffic. We did have a traffic study done by SLR. I'm not going to read the whole report. It's part of the application package. But their conclusion was based on the results of the traffic capacity analysis, traffic flow to and from the site in the future, with the proposed development in place is expected to operate well. The future proposed parking supply at the site is also expected to be adequate. They do recommend roundabout pavement markings to be installed and vegetation within the right of way be trimmed at the adjacent intersection of Central Avenue and the Midway Oval. And most of it has to do with vegetation. So that is part of the package. One of the points that one of the neighbors brought up just now was regarding play areas and the basketball court. Originally, our original concept was to have the basketball court on the site and not change that. We did get a notice recommendation from Parks and Rec that they want that basketball court removed. Parks and Rec does not want the basketball court there. And due to the size of the building, parking requirements, there is no play area available except what's dedicated for the children on the site. There is a playground at the corner of Gary Court and Midway Oval. It's maybe 500-600 feet away. It's just on the back side. I do have a tax map that shows that. And a secondary basketball court could be put on there. I'm not that familiar with the site, but I believe that if the basketball court was needed, something could be done. The property is owned by the town. I believe TVCCA leases this property presently, so we really had no control over that basketball court or the play area. In regards to some more information from several neighbors and from staff and the not the students, but the parents. So I'm not gonna, I'll hand out a couple of these things. There was a survey that was done. I have all the copies. I'll give you a couple. I'm not gonna go through them all, but as the chairman had said, they're all positive. So I'm not gonna read it, you know, so like.
Thank you.
One of the biggest questions, okay, so this is the existing site plan of the existing 38 and 36, which are these two structures right here. They are going to be demolished. We will be keeping number 40 Central Avenue. That's the existing daycare center. I believe there are presently 36 children. Okay, so there are 40 children presently using this, and how many students will be leaving because of 36 and 38? Given that number, so there are 50 that have to find other places to go. So right now it's a hardship for those 50 students. Right now, I don't know where they're going to go, where they're heading. So we're trying to keep number 40 open at a minimum, 40 students, and propose. We're going to try to keep in that one building. 36 children, you know, that becomes 72 parents, a bunch of grandparents, employers. It'd be very difficult for them to find alternate health childcare needs. We did have a couple of phasing plans. It was very complex to try to keep this building open, and in addition, keeping this open and also try to work within the parameters of the construction and also to get a CO for the large building. I think it was almost impossible to keep this building open and to maintain it and to also get the construction for all the phases to get the CO. It had to do with parking. We can't have the parking in one area without compromising another area. So we were hoping at some point, town staff, we work out a phasing, and with the contractor, we work out some phasing plan where we can either get a CO for the large building so we can move everyone over, or get a temporary CO. That's something that a detail that will have to be worked out with the phasing. It's not insurmountable, but I think we can do it. Can you go to the proposed site plan, Paul? Proposed there, okay. So you can see the proposed number 36 Central Avenue. It's a very large structure. Number 40 is that little gray, I guess, box on the side there. So that will remain during construction and also after it's open. That will become administrative offices, I believe. We have sufficient parking. We have the green is the stormwater system. That's where the mitigation will be for all the stormwater, and up to the right, that gray area, not only is that going to be a stormwater basin planted with vegetation, but also underneath there, you can see just the edge of little circles. Those are going to be geothermal wells that are proposed for this building. It's going to be totally electric, this building. And speaking of electric, we will be providing 9 electric parking charging stations. Thank you very much. So the parking is, so as you can see, there's really no room. All that parking, it eats up most of it, and the playgrounds eat up the rest for the students, which is kind of below there. So there's really no room for basketball court due to keep the low impact development requirements that apply for this. So we do have a phasing. Paul, can you go to that last sheet? And actually, we were out there yesterday trying to come up with some type of compromise for this. I think that was the last sheet. And actually, on the sheet that we had provided as one of the revisions, notes for the construction sequence, we're going to work with the contractor, us, and TVCCA to try to maintain that one building. So what we're proposing now, and this just came in, I think Deb, you might not even have seen this, or we just.
Nope.
Okay, so we emailed this yesterday. I'm sure you might not have agreed that. So
Nope.
there is an area just in front of number 40 that's grass right now. So what we're proposing is to put temporary parking, remove processed stone, processed gravel there for parking for students to get dropped off, and staff parking would be on the basketball court. There is a 24-foot road right away going down driveway for two-way traffic and emergency vehicles if need be. And the yellow to the north would be all construction fencing. So the entire site would be protected. So we propose all the construction to the north. And as the parking gets developed, we can close off the staff parking down below, and we can have staff parking, finished parking, and then we complete the basins to the south that we need to get done. So that was one of our proposals. Questions? I will take any questions that you have.
We'll have those after everybody's done.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good. Thank you.
Good evening. My name's Aris Stalis. I'm the principal of Aris Land Studio. We are landscape architects located at 78 Elm Street in Bridgeport, Connecticut. So you've seen some of the planting plans, and based on the last comments, Paul, if you, essentially, why don't we look at this plan? This is the tree protection plan, and we're extremely aggressive in protecting existing trees because those root systems extend to the canopies, which in this shows fencing being very aggressive to protect those root systems. So I know we're going to have to be working with the owner and the contractor to stay on top of this because contractors always want to park on their trees. So that's one thing to note. Well, if you go to the planting plan, another thing to note is that in our plans, we call for decompaction in all of these landscape areas down to 24 inches because the construction equipment will turn it into concrete so that we have, our goal is to end up with at least no more than 85% compaction because that's what allows for tree root growth. Some of the most recent comments we received had to do with making sure we're 5 feet off the sidewalk with all the street trees that surround the site, and we do that.
additionally, to utilize existing vegetation as a buffer, it would have to be 37 feet. So in lieu of that, what we did was supplement the plantings, where we have existing pines on the, call it the southwest and the southeast side. We've supplemented that with additional evergreen plantings that includes rhododendrons, some ilex, some leather leaf viburnum, which remain evergreen. Trying to stay from existing trees so that we don't impact them, but still providing a robust buffer. And then where we don't, we have added some more white pines and some junipers. The shade trees are a mixture of shade trees from American elms, some dogwoods near the trees, Nyssa sylvaticas, which the Nyssa we've placed in the right basin on the right side here. Right here, and then here we have 2 maples to take advantage of the water that's going to be there, because those trees like wet feet. Even though I know Public Works was like, keep them out of the basin, but I go there at the very top of the edge of the basin. And trees are very beneficial in terms of mitigating stormwater runoff. Another thing about the stormwater basins, we've specified a robust native plant mixture, and included in the drawings is a 2-year maintenance strategy, so that we see the natives grow and keep out the invasives. That doesn't mean it's going to be easy after the fact. Once they've established, because invasives will come in like crazy. The site is loaded with mugwort, which is everyone's fighting that in Connecticut. If I had a magic trick for that, I'd tell you, but I don't have it. So, and of course, where we have the geothermal wells, we cannot plant trees in those areas. So that's really where we don't have the tree cover. And then the playground areas, we've, except for 1 or 2 places, we stay completely out of them. Because that's kind of a design and process. Naturally, I'd love to bring more trees in those spaces, but that's a whole nother phase of it. And that kind of sums it up, and I'm sure you'll have questions at the end. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Paul Jorgensen with Silver Petroselli Architects. I'm going to start off with our electrical engineer's plan. The electrical engineer works out of our office for the project. We had submitted the photometric plan showing the light levels. One of the things that I wanted to make note of to the commission was that we don't include new lights on building 40. And because we're not including that, that's a building that's existing and operates now. We don't have accurate photometrics directly around building 40. So we don't show the accurate light levels right in front and around that building. Everywhere else on the site, with the new parking, the parking across the front, and of course around the new building, we are lighting it according to the regulations of an average of 0.8 foot candles. Trailing off toward the edges of the parking at 0.2 foot candles. That was our goal, and we believe we've met that around the parking. Again, the existing building has lights on it that do shine on the egress doors that are on the different faces of the building, but we don't know what the lumens are for that, because we're not adding lights to that building, and we don't know the existing lighting of that building. So I wanted to present this plan that was submitted as part of the package. And then moving on from that, we get right into the architecture itself, which is my specialty. We designed, and I won't get into too much detail, and you can ask questions after, of course, but the building is laid out with a central core for administrative offices and entry, and then there are the 2 wings for the pre-K and for the infant toddler program. So there's 6 classrooms on the one side and then 5 on the other, and then just a small kitchen, a warming kitchen on the bottom right corner. A corridor network that serves all of those, but again, the main entry is at the top. The elevations are the materials are low maintenance fiber cement type of siding, typical clad windows, asphalt shingle roofs for the project. We do have the little cupola at that main entrance or near the main entrance, which is just an architectural feature, not a used feature in terms of space or anything like that. The attics in the roof gables are being used by mechanical equipment. So we have the geothermal wells, but they're feeding equipment that is all located in the attic. So we really don't have much, if any, mechanical equipment on the site. The site itself, all the equipment is really on the building or in the building itself. These were some renderings that you may have seen before that were submitted with our package. The only deviation, these were done earlier, is that we originally had masonry or brick base on the building, which was removed for budget purposes. So now it's a side all siding down to the brick. This is an example, layout of the playgrounds around the building. So we have each quadrant of the two front quadrants, and then across the back of the building, we have playgrounds that serve classrooms that come right out to the pathways that enter into the playgrounds. These have not been completed yet. This is an initial design, and we're going to be working with the playground company to finalize the equipment choices and colors and other things. We have met the size requirements for the anticipated use of the playgrounds. We have signage as part of the project, and at this point, I'll just breeze through the rest of it. This is the submission we had showing different plumbing and fire protection plans. That this is a fully fire protected building, and then lastly, electrical plan showing the charging stations and the lighting. With that, I guess I'll conclude and open it up for questions.
See, I don't have anything else to present. Staff.
Sure, I'll try to pull this together here. Okay. So this is a 3.5 acre site in the R12 zone. Daycares are allowed by special permit. You did grant a special permit July 11 of this year. The property is owned by the town of Groton and it's leased to the CCA. And it's been used as a child care center since the 1980s. There are several site plans that were and special permits that were approved as it added buildings and expanded in small ways. So the proposal here is to demolish 2 of the 3 existing buildings and the basketball court, leaving one of the buildings, 40 Central Ave, to remain as an active child care center. The building is that will be built is approximately 23,000 square feet and will house, as you've heard, up to 150 children. And again, the building at 40 Central is going to remain in use during the construction. And that really has been the main concern of all staff. How to keep those folks safe while there's construction going on next door. How parents will be able to access that building, how the children will be able to play outside as required. And I'll be honest, we're not quite there yet. So I did send out a motion earlier that says we need to figure that out and get the construction plan in order before the plans are filed in land records if you choose to approve it tonight. The concern is that a lot of the drainage structures may be over near 40 Central Avenue, but they're draining the new building. And so we really need to figure out how all of that is going to work. And it's probably going to involve getting whoever is going to actually build this building to take a look at it and figure out the construction sequence. The driveways to the site are going to remain in place, just where you see them now. There are 2 driveways. When the new building is built, parents will park and walk their children in. There is not necessarily a drop-off area. A new sidewalk is proposed right now. There's a bituminous sidewalk along the frontage, the property's frontage. As part of this project, a 5-foot wide concrete sidewalk and 4-foot wide snow shelf will be built with required handicap ramps at all of the driveways. Buffers are also required because this is adjacent to residential uses. And the buffers need to buffer the childcare activity. So the buffers are, in back of the building where the houses butt up against it. And then along, I think it's the west side where there's a number of pines that are going to remain in place, and they're going to be supplemented with other greenery. Lighting. The lighting is called to be on a timer, to be shut off. And it, as you saw the photometric plan, there's no bleed over. Public Works has looked at it and was a bit concerned that there's not enough light, especially for winter hours, and has suggested that instead of 20-foot poles, reduce them down to 15 and put in some more, so that you have better lighting in the wintertime. Stormwater. So the parking lot and the rooftop will drain to rain gardens. There's an infiltration system for some of the roof water. And then there are a couple of hydrodynamic separators that the water will flow through before it discharges into the existing town system. We spoke about the cupola. The cupola is actually taller than the maximum height of the zone. That is something that is allowed if you do not have any kind of human activity in it, and if it is of a size that it's less than 10% of the building, which this is. So because of that, it can be 10 feet above the maximum height, up to 40 feet, and that this does meet that. The park, that the green area that's on the corner of Midway Oval and Central Ave has been called Central Avenue Park for a bit. It's got a sign out there. It's just a large green area. With this building, that will disappear, as will the basketball court. The Parks and Rec director is not happy where the basketball court is now because it's so far off the road that it can't really be, I don't want to say police, but it can't be monitored. And some folks don't even know it's there. So he's suggested that it be moved over to the Raheem Carter Park, which is also in this neighborhood, and construct a new basketball court over there. There is no open space designation in this deed. It is not an open space parcel. As a matter of fact, I think the Public Works Department was down there before the big fire, and in the building department when all the files burned up. So that's all I've got. I did give you guys a draft motion. If you do decide you want to take action on it tonight, you don't have to take action tonight. It can be continued to the next meeting.
Open it up to the commission. For any questions, comments. Let's go, Wilhelm.
Well, baseline, I don't have any problem with any of this. I think it's great. I'll take some things I should question, but the cupola, if this was 100 years ago, we'd be putting a clock tower on this and we'd love it. So with a chime. So, but I think it's perfectly appropriate to have something for the basketball court. You were just saying that they're thinking of adding it to Younger Park. I just attended a report later. I'll say no. We all saw something for improving Sutton Park. We just attended last week another presentation for that. We fleshed out some more details, and one of the things is master plan for an additional court there. I always think the best place to have a basketball court is next to an existing basketball court, so you have 2 courts plus a pavilion next to it, and everything works out. And it's still a short hop from this location. So whether it's over there or next to Sutton, I think it's already taken care of. It's never a great place for it here. I know the desire for something like that happens because it was there. But if we were to build this whole neighborhood today, we wouldn't put a basketball court there, so that's perfectly appropriate. Where the losing the park. I don't know, I don't even know if it doesn't say Central Avenue Park or right down, I think the sign says Central Park.
It's possible on GIS, it's called Central Avenue Park.
Okay,
So,
I think the sign
yeah.
says Central, and that would disturb me because it sounds like it's a central park and it's just an area of grass, so. Losing it there and having adjacent Sutton, as you mentioned, the other park on the other side, blocks away. That's sad that there won't be quite so much green, but it'll be quite open and landscaped. It'll be terrific. For the lighting, the idea of changing it from, I like the taller light fixtures. I have great faith in tall light fixtures just being better to get the light amount of light. I say that just because when you make them taller, you can use a more severe angle for the light coming out of it, coming down, and therefore have less horizontal lighting coming out of it. I know you all do follow dark sky rules and full cutoff, but those don't necessarily address glare that much. That's not what dark sky was for. It was the only standard we had. So I'd rather just see it stay up 20 feet and have more severe angle and just get a better fixture, or maybe you'll have to add something. Keep it up that high. I'd prefer that. That's all I've got. I think it looks great. Oh, I have one little one. It's not a site plan thing. And the only thing I don't like about the building is that there's no protection over the entrance. In the rainstorm, the water will be flowing right in the door. I don't know why people do that.
If I could, the roof overhang will protect a little. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
it's
too-
only a few feet. I
And,
think
and it's too far up. So a slight breeze and
Well,
flowing right in. So, and you've already got kind of awnings and things already in the building, so that language is already there. If that's part of the flow in and out of the building, I would just see that. And means in a bad snow or something like that, that means it maintains a clear unsnowed in zone right outside of the door. So. Unsnowed. Unsnowed. I drive.
It's a new term.
I'm going to use that for the rest of my unsnowed, but that's another way to maintain that. That's
Mike, do you have any?
The only, I guess I heard that the light shut off. What hours would those lights be operating?
You guys have a note on the plan.
There's a-
So that there is, yeah.
There was,
I don't have that.
I thought there was something.
But it is flexible because it's open.
We only operate 7 in the morning till 5 at night. 9:30, they can go on. Yeah. But for the most part, we operate 7 in the morning till 5 at night. So that's for the staff. I want it. You guys are already on the 15.
We want to specify that one.
Would that be even be a site plan?
Yeah, I mean,
Period?
not really. Yeah, I
But
mean,
they're
it's
really-
not spilling over,
They're
so
really saying you'd only have the lights on during hours. for-
Operating
for
hours.
Operation.
Yeah, okay, that would be fine. I just, would like to make sure that they're not, just on until, late hours of the night. I have no other questions.
So,
Yeah, just no more questions. It's really more for Deb. I know that area is a very low-lying area. And what was, I know the last 500-year storm, I think it's what, 2010. Yeah, how was that area at the time? I remember going up to Fort Hill Brook and
Mhm.
up to the sheep farm and watching the water go. over the
Yeah.
water.
I did not drive through that neighborhood during that storm. I mean, you're right, it is in the 500-year. It's far enough away from Fort Hill Brook that a good portion of this neighborhood is in the 100-year.
Right.
But this area is not. I didn't drive through there, so I don't know.
we could get down to where the Chronic River is.
Mhm.
That was maybe underwater, but once you get out of that area,
right,
just a little bit, it's not.
right. Yeah,
It's really fun.
Yep.
I always used to play. I
mhm,
can remember when I first moved there. You have a high tide in a storm. And you get,
mhm,
you make fix it,
mhm.
but I never gonna, it's not quite a.
Mhm.
I mean, it's serious.
So you're saying that this is okay because it's high enough.
It is high enough,
Yeah.
right? That is correct.
All right.
Just go down to the river.
Yeah, I've been down there.
Ways.
I've been down there, but I wasn't really out there.
Mhm.
Because I didn't walk it. No.
Mm.
When people do these studies and everything like that, we don't require for 50 or 500 year time frame or something.
For
I
flood,
guess they are, as long as the property is high enough.
that's
up.
exactly right. That's right.
I just want to make sure I use two things. And, the other thing, let's see. I had some questions about the maintenance, of the rain gardens. And hearing that you have more work there. 2-year programs, so they with the bill, I don't think. So, and this is going on to the maintenance schedule for rain gardens. And it's, I guess one of them was, problem weeds should be hand pulled or spot sprayed. Who actually going to do this since the site is owned by the town of Groton? But someone else is using the building or has a lease or whatever the deal is on that. But who actually is responsible for keeping the rain garden in the shape it should be?
That I can't answer. I mean, that would be the owners then.
Mhm.
So the owners would retain. Professionals that would come in and take care of that.
I guess with my understanding, I don't know if the town of Groton even uses this. I thought the town council had a problem with that.
Right,
some
that's
years
right.
ago.
It's,
So how are you supposed to maintain anything? I mean, I'm sorry.
well,
It's a real world.
yeah, this is, this is a real challenge because when you start getting some of the plants that come in, you try to pull them, but sometimes what you do is, when we say a spot treatment, for example, they'll have it on like a glove so that they're just treating the plant itself. So it's not this broad scale treatment. And it's important, it's really vigilance is really the most important piece. But I mean, I grew up with a mother in the 70s that didn't believe in chemicals, and we're like, it makes it easier. But unfortunately, that some of these invasives, and thank goodness we don't see knotweed there, because that is,
Right.
that's impossible. It goes dormant. So it really is, if it's done correctly, it's minimal, but you still have to stay on top.
Yeah, well, the problem actually. The mugwort, it's the same problem now, Japanese knotweed. Genetically, these plants are changing.
Yes.
Over time, and they're fertile seeds now. So you can get things that don't have to be on the property, but they come in through.
Oh,
the wind, the birds.
it will definitely blow in, and that's why, especially like mudwort, if you catch it before it goes to seed, then you're winning 20% of the battle.
I was gonna say this.
I mean,
Big
it's,
challenge.
but it's, I've seen meadows that people have installed to avoid lawns, and it works, but they admit it's not easy. It's still a lot of work.
Yeah, I guess that's my concern with the town. How is the town going to, I mean, we talk in these plans about these various systems. I mean, I have driven by or walked by some of them for some of the open space subdivisions or other places where there's supposed to be a retention pond. And it's like a nightmare. You can't even see it. Or some of them, you can't see the swimming board because the barberries come with the whole screen. It's like that.
Yeah, I mean, for subdivisions, at any rate, the town is responsible for that.
Right.
So, feel free to call Public Works.
That's
Yeah.
really the.
Yeah,
Okay.
but on private sites, the town doesn't get involved with maintaining the
Right, but sites
basics.
like this, that they would, because they would site,
Nope.
but they would.
TVCCA is leasing it.
Please.
So then,
No VCs.
would they be doing anything
For
for lessee?
for the maintenance of their stormwater basins.
Yeah, so
Yep.
you would have to have, but after 2 years and.
Well, you know, the kicker is in the first year, you're mowing it, the area whenever it reaches about 12 to 18 inches. Not, and when I say mowing, you don't cut it shorter than 4 to 6 inches. So regular mower doesn't work. And that helps minimize so that the seedlings can grow and it cuts out the invasives. The second year, you let it grow and then you're really monitoring to make sure things don't grow in. When you mow it in the spring season, you want to wait till essentially when basically the cherries and apples have bloomed, because then all of the insects that have hidden in the undergrowth have, you know, sprouted and you know, you're not in danger of damaging them. Then you just mow it down. Again, with not a typical mower. And then you're just monitoring. And, you know, the good thing about mugwort, it smells so unique that you can tell what it is. So that's, you know, and that's really, it's the first 2 years that are intense. And then in theory, it's easier after that. But it's just, I don't think it's harder. It's just a different way to do maintenance.
I wish you were right about that.
I've been trying to preach this, but it's not easy.
Well, I mean, I wish I could see it. But, so you're gonna be the one you're willing to use herbicides to. control this?
I would say yes, that it's a, you know, it's an evil necessity.
Well, I mean, I think the DEP does have very good rules, you have to get, permits and all.
Yes.
And things, and there are things that do not hurt other things, and that's all the reason for it. So it's
Yeah.
not like, I think it's unrealistic to say, we're just.
30 years ago, we used to go in and just spray everything without thinking about everything. And finally, it's a little more focused.
Okay, well, I wish you luck on that. Thanks for all the information.
Thank you.
Just in the project in general, period of performance, what are we talking about? How long will the project?
The duration from start to finish of
Right.
construction. Well, it really is the contractor's responsibility, but we were estimating that we think this is 14 to 16 months
14.
of construction.
Okay, and day one, you can assume that those 2 buildings will be shut down and,
Sooner than that.
Okay. All right, so the increase in population for the kids isn't gonna be until 14. Okay. You mentioned all the heating and cooling or geothermal. So is no backup systems required? Okay, and these are all, I don't know a lot about geothermal. I know it's dangerous, but big pipes, air handlers in the ceiling.
These are fed with units that are located in the attic that come down, down into the space. So it's an air system. But it's.
Oh, it's not a hydro?
Well, it's coils that come in from that feed the equipment, the heating, the cooling, and then that's fed through an air system.
Okay,
So it is, and that's providing the fresh air. To the building.
yeah, and these systems don't make a lot of noise, right? Yeah, okay. But I assume that they'll probably run almost 24/7, right?
Less so, they scale back.
Yeah.
Non-operational.
Yeah, because I think it's just that they work on a small differential. Yeah. You mentioned charging stations. Now, I know we have new regulations for charging things. You have active ones that are class 2. And then, or do they, this is for you, do they fall into the thing where they have to wire for additional ones?
The make ready, yes.
Make ready?
Yep.
And that's on the.
Yep.
Yeah.
We have 9 active ones during once their buildings in operation, and we have possibly 4 additional ones.
Awesome. And then the power supply coming and providing all that can handle all that.
Correct.
Going at once.
In addition, yeah, those will be phase two. Class two.
Yep.
In addition to geothermal wells, they're all subsurface, all 5 people. So they're underground piping system.
Getting back to lights, I guess. Not knowing, it's kind of hard to visualize all this, but what kind of lights just for security of the premises after hours?
There are building mounted lights around all the entrances, the main entrances.
Okay.
side entrances, and that's providing most of the lighting around the building itself.
Okay, and those stay on.
Well, again, they can be turned off or they can remain on.
Yeah, I just,
But parking can be separated from.
as things happen when things are pitch dark.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want brand new building. to
Yeah,
be
Chuck,
panicked
I was
or
gonna
something.
mention that, even though the main lighting will be turned off at 5:30, there will be security lights. Around the building.
Good. And then we just got at the last minute, the revision of the stormwater plan. What changed?
There were some minor technical issues that we had addressed, right now. We had sent those in, we are addressing the 525, 104 events.
Oh.
And the tonnage has.
Yep, and there was a change in, the placement of the rain gardens. So, yeah.
Mine,
Oh, yeah, definitely minor. Yep.
no wholesale.
Nope.
Rewrites.
No, it was just based on some reconfiguration they did based on staff comments. They had to redo the drainage calcs.
Okay.
In
Yeah.
addition, there was no mitigation at all right now. Current structures have no stormwater.
Oh,
So it's going from 0 to 1.
I'm sure you're gonna be a heck of a lot better than what was existing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
And yeah, that's all I have.
Didn't have any real questions on the submittal, but the lighting issue that could be handled as a technical issue.
In terms of,
The questions that there's.
sure, I mean, what I'm hearing is that you want the lights to remain as they're shown on the plan as opposed to what Public Works recommended.
That height.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay,
Yeah.
right. So no change necessary there.
But I mean, we just.
Yep.
Just now.
Right, absolutely. Yep.
We had questions over the CO, just ignore that, that's all the time comes.
So that's right. So that is what the construction phasing plan is going to address. It will, yes. The phasing plan will outline what all needs to be done before the building is CO'd and before work starts on the second phase. So, yeah,
We don't have to address that.
no. Well, that is right. That is kind of wrapped into the construction phasing plan that I'm suggesting as one of the modifications.
Yeah, in regards to the phasing, like I said, we went through various scenarios with that, and we could never find a compromise to get the CO for the large building and keep that open at the same time. That's why we did have a final plan that we presented yesterday or 2 days ago. So what we're proposing right now is to create a parking area up front, which now is grass. And parents can park and bring their kids, children to the main entrance here, as they have in the past, and staff can park down there. There's gonna be a construction fence, there will be no construction in this area at the time. So all this work can be done at that time. Once this parking area is established, we can abandon this parking area, and then we can finish our stormwater mitigation. So I would hate to see, and we don't really know at this point, the contractor who has not been picked at this point may have some other ideas, but safety of the children is number one, and fire and emergency personnel being able to access it. I know I'm not really familiar with the funding for this, but right now the funding is critical right now. The timing is critical for this. So to delay this any longer already. We missed a couple of steps.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we had it covered.
Oh, yeah, no, okay, I just wanted to rest assured that it will be addressed and safety is the number one priority. But I don't think we can actually come up with a real
Oh, no,
answer until we get.
Change until you.
Exactly, okay.
Or you may see your way.
Yeah.
Somehow you can figure it out when you get close.
Yeah, there you go.
Close to it. I don't know. Does anyone have anything else? No. Standard comment. I'm very supportive of that.
So I just want to be clear on the phasing. We're going to need to have something that's pretty close to something that can be built before the plans are filed in land records. Again, I have not seen this latest plan, but we'll look at it and we'll get it figured out before the plans are put in land records.
Maybe that's more of an administrative
Absolutely.
issue than something.
And something you need to deal with. Yes, Yep.
Other than the fact it has to be addressed.
exactly.
So you have a motion that means presented. I did have one change on the first paragraph. So address the timing of drainage. I thought we could move to the sequence, address the sequence of timing. That makes sense.
Yep.
That's what they meant.
Thing that we're calendar, or it's really gonna be a sequence that you kind of tie.
It's relative to the other pieces. It's not the time.
It's not one. I'm not complete all of one thing to go with. That's part of something. So I'll make a motion to approve the site plan, SIT 2304 for TDCCA Child Care and Preschool Center at 36-38 Central Avenue with the following modifications. One, a detailed construction phasing plan that addresses the sequence of drainage, landscaping, and sidewalk installations, while prioritizing the safety of the children and staff using Portland Central Avenue will be developed and placed on the plan. The sediment and erosion control plan shall be adjusted to be consistent with the construction of the construction phasing plan as necessary. Through any revisions to the site may be required by Groton Utilities, the Fire Marshal, Public Works, or any other outside agency shall require additional review and approval by the Office of Planning and Development staff or the Planning and Zoning Commission as appropriate. 3, technical items as raised by staff shall be addressed. The Planning and Zoning Commission finds that the curriculum will not be used for human occupancy and does not occupy an aggregate area more than 10% of the building area and may be erected to a height of 40 feet. Is there a second? Second. And second. Any comments on this? Objection. I'm not going to vote on the motion. Approve the site plan is 2304. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Motion is carried unanimously. Thank you.
Can I ask something that's, it has nothing to do with the site plan approval or anything like that, but got this building that's got a sloped roof facing south in slightly two different directions. How does this not have solar panels on it? And you've got heat pumps that you're driving the thing.
Well, that was part of the design.
Okay. I know it'd be a different program that you would go after, but it's made for it. Okay. Yeah, no.
Right.
Time for comment has come and gone, sorry. No question.
Just want to know what I think about the things and the safety and the children and we monitor on a day-to-day basis and that's the main concern for us. And the main concern. And I don't see any way out of the building. Because I hope that
Well, we have the buildings. All right. We have 6 people.
More than that.
You're good.
And we hold a discussion outside.
Yeah, we've got more
We have
business.
more-
Go ahead. So, yeah, thanks.
Okay. Commission reports, report of the chair, I don't have any report, does anybody in the commission? have anything? Okay, report of staff. We have a strong official interpretation.
Right, right, we've started giving you the zoning and zoning determinations in case you want to review them and maybe disagree with them. They have to be, if you're going to appeal them, it has to be within 30 days of the issuance. So we're trying to be timely in giving them to you. This one, I think, is pretty obvious. Someone had asked whether or not they could do a duplex on a lot and then have one of the units have an accessory dwelling along with that, which would essentially be 3 units on a lot. And the answer is no.
Oh, because it's very useful.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think it's a good idea.
Mhm. Yep.
But what controls the appeal?
What do you mean?
You said if we rejected, you have 30 days.
There's an appeal process to the ZBA. Anybody can appeal
Oh,
these
it
things.
goes to the ZBA.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I was-
Yeah, anybody can appeal.
But there's a 30-day time.
It's a 30-day time limit, right? Yep.
I don't know what happened. If we just-
Well, I mean, you need to decide if you really wanted to
Well, no,
take an appeal,
now
but
we
yeah,
do
yeah.
It's good to know this.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
And my daughter stands for what I'm hoping is that we can work closer if there's something that's just very cut and dry.
Mhm.
If there's something that's more, yeah,
Mm.
or whatever, or maybe we could improve it different ways. I think it'd be really nice if we could, all be ahead of them and talk about it. I don't know.
If he's trying to make a tough decision.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
so we don't get the same situation where it's. I almost wondered if we would be changing to anything, because to me, it was clear when we wrote them, but they just not being interpreted. Communication.
I would caution you guys. You don't want to be making zoning determinations because,
not saying-
then you get appealed and you have to go to the ZBA and defend your decision.
We were saying you want to go in and tweak whatever's wrong with the language.
Right,
because
if you
of
don't- right.
misunderstanding.
Right,
So there's no ambiguity.
Right.
right. And that's fine. If you find something in one of his interpretations that, yeah, you don't really like and just need to tweak, then that's,
Well, under that,
Yeah.
so I don't think-
right,
We
right,
ang-
exactly.
we Anguish over those
Right.
words.
Right.
And, you know, we know what we want to say.
Right,
Somebody
Right.
will come and say. "Ah, it's
yeah,
not what it
yep.
is."
Yeah, we couldn't even talk with the CEO before.
You know, usually you can, but again, you don't want to be the zoning, the people making the determination. I mean,
No, that I get.
yeah,
That I
yeah.
get.
I mean, if the timing works. If the timing works and if he's, yeah, yeah, yep, yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't have anything else.
So anybody- so anything else? You put to address, so the motion. So moved.
Second.
Moved and second.
Very good. Thank you. Good night, Michael.
Good night now.
I can have dinner.
Thank you. Right on.
You can finish it.